Hi, everybody. Susan Clinton here, one of your hosts for Tough to Treat. This is podcast number 208. And as we are recording this podcast, it is not yet spring in our various areas where we reside. But by the time this drops, I just want to wish everybody a very happy spring because it'll be late April when this particular podcast drops in for your listening. I just wanted to remind everybody that we would love to have your reviews. Please let us know how we're doing. Leave a review wherever you listen for your podcasts. And also remember that if you want to see our face, we're on YouTube as well. And if you're watching this from YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe and let us know how we're doing.
Yes.
All right. At this point, enjoy the podcast. Hi, everybody. Susan Clinton here. Hello, Erica. How are you?
I am good, Susan. How are you?
Great. Podcast number 208, and we're here together
Yes, we are.
to chat about another client.
Yes, awesome. And I'm looking at since we're on video now on YouTube. I'm in New York City and it's sort of end of March here and it's dreary and rainy. So I'm hopefully I have some decent light. Not a lot going on outside of New York right now except
Yeah.
dreary rain.
Well, in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, we finally have a sunny day because
Oh, nice.
the spring is always March and April are always a washout with the snow melt and the rain before we get into the beautiful days of May and the summer. So anyway, let's get started and talk about this client.
Okay.
Um, I just basically I found the whole thing fairly interesting from a viewpoint of why we aren't doing a better job with some people. And I just mean out there for everything, not me, not you. But here's the thing.
As a profession?
I consulted on a client
Hmm.
in her late 60s. This is a very pretty healthy individual. She's done a lot of work. She has some autoimmunities. She's really gotten things under control. She had a long history of and uh, neck pain and neck issues, and those are just like doing so very well. She did some sort of maneuver. She says that she kind of bent and twisted and
Hmm.
had acute onset of low back pain on the right side. Very significant, very acute, like, as we
Okay.
can all imagine, and
Yes.
many of us have had.
Yes.
In about 2 or 3 days, the back pain began to reside, and she started noticing a day later that she was having severe glute pain. And so she
On one side?
on her right side,
Side.
same
Okay.
side. All of this is on the right.
Got it.
And that she said that it felt like she had a rock in her glute, and
Hmm.
it was very painful and very uncomfortable. Um, and kind of told me that at that point she went to her chiropractor and they did an x-ray and said something about a facet joint. She called it a joint. I have a joint that's in trouble. And, so I'm going there and they're doing some adjustments. And I said, well, so the biggest problem that she had, kind of just to finish her history, this big pain in the center of her glute on the right side. She felt better sitting, felt
Okay.
worse in standing,
Okay.
could walk some, but would have to sit
Mhm.
quite frequently because of the pain. It felt better if she sat down. Unable to tall kneel at church. So
Able to tall kneel.
unable unable to do tall kneeling, kneeling on both knees at church.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Okay.
unable to do it.
Hmm.
Just doesn't need tried to get in the position several times and just cannot do it.
Okay.
So she, by the time we were having this discussion, it's been 3 months. This started in mid-December.
Hmm.
So by the time we were having this discussion, it's been 3 months. She has been going and getting adjustments,
Oh
and
God.
she's been, and she's seeing a physical therapist. I asked her what she's doing, and she said that they're doing a lot of slow, easy stretches.
Slow, easy
Easy stretches.
stretches.
Uh-huh. So I basically I just wanted to, like, find out more information, and it was like she goes, because she kept saying, "Well, there's this issue in my back," and I said, "First of all, before we go any further, do you have any back pain now at all?" And the answer is, "No, I don't." And I said, where are your symptoms? Tell me all of your symptoms." So
Mhm.
she went back and she said, the glute pain, she goes, is still there. And that when she is really flared up, that's where she really feels it. But she also, so I just kept, and she said something about it, and then my foot goes numb. It's like, what part of your foot goes numb? I don't know, my foot. And I said, "And any other numbness or tingling anywhere else?" And then she finally sat there for a minute and said, "Yeah, down the outside of my leg." She goes, "That's pretty consistent. It's a foot going
Which
down and coming back. That's it. That's intermittent."
which she didn't have at the beginning.
But she didn't have at the beginning. In the
Okay,
beginning, it was just significant, severe,
got it.
like
Yes,
a sudden kind of like,
isolated.
I can't move, kind of
Okay,
thing that kind of
right,
over 3 days, just like kind of finally she was able to move and it settled down and it was
okay,
getting better and the glute pain started.
okay.
So she's been doing stretches for that, stretches for her legs. Um, and she said that, overall it's a little bit better because she can walk a little bit better. And I said, "How far can you walk?" And she goes, "Well," because she was kind of jumping around with all of these stories here. She said, for instance, we just got off a plane 2 days ago, and I was able to walk about 20 feet, and then I had to sit down.
20 feet.
And she goes, "My endurance is so bad." And it's like, "Why did you have to sit down? Because you felt tired?" "Well, no, I had the pain, so I had to sit down. But if I wasn't so tired, I probably could have gone further."
Oh,
It's a little weird.
yeah,
Anyway, I finally got her to, like, I get the fatigue. You haven't been able to do as much as you usually do over the last 3 months. So yeah, you definitely, probably are tired.
yeah.
She hasn't been able to work out. She hasn't been able to do much. And I said, "Okay, so you can sit, right?" "Yes, I can sit." I said, "Do you have a stationary bike?" "Yes, I do." I said, "Have you been on the stationary bike?" "No, I have not." And I said, "Was there a reason? Are you afraid of the bike? What's the reason for not being on the bike?" She said, "They told me I should only do what they were doing with me."
Oh my god.
I know. It's like, okay,
I
this person can sit, they can't stand. She's in her late 60s.
I mean, she can't stand, she can't walk, she can sit. She should be doing a bike.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's like they keep talking about some joint issue. If you tell me how old somebody is and you tell me kind of what's going on, like what their symptoms are, we can probably tell you what's wrong with them.
Right, exactly.
We're dealing with somebody here who needs significant imaging. They
Yeah,
need an MRI of their lumbar spine.
yeah,
This person is everything is pointing towards either central or lateral stenosis. I would vote for lateral
yeah,
stenosis
yeah, yeah,
because of the nerve rooty type thing that's going on.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
people with stenosis don't have back pain, they have leg pain.
That's right, right.
They have everything down below.
Yeah.
She can't stand up straight. She
She can't
can't
even
do
kneel.
it, and then she said she can't tall kneel. She said that, another aggravating factor was she has a new grandchild, the baby,
Mhm.
and a lot of lifting of the baby and, holding the baby up overhead and, doing she said it was just awful.
I can
Really
imagine.
brought her symptoms on
Yeah,
every single time.
yep.
And so is and then, of course, the kicker is, like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna go see this other person that, in Pennsylvania that she knows, that she has a lot of great trust with,
Mhm,
because she has just recently moved from Pennsylvania to another state.
mhm.
And so she's got this on her radar to go and do in between going to a wedding or something, but here's the kicker, she's headed to the Holy Lands in the middle of May, and she can't walk.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I know. So
Oh,
so here's what we did. So let's just take a look at everything and see what's going on. So without me even telling you, what side was she loading?
Well, I don't know her past history. She probably your left side, but she probably could be loading her right side.
She was loading her right side,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
when
She
we
was
think
loading this
about that,
side.
I can't stand, I can't walk,
Yep. Yep.
and, and so it was the step forward that was easier. It was
Yes.
the stepping forward of the opposite leg that was harder, right? Because it would take her into extension.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And people
Yes.
with, that type of thing, with us, the stenosis, or for whatever reason the stenosis exists, whether it's some arthritic changes or whether it's, encroachment into the fecal sac on the right side,
Yeah.
would
Well,
get, so she walks for a while, and that's when her foot goes really numb.
yeah.
Um,
So it was left step forward,
and
Susan, that bothered her more than right step
yeah,
forward? Okay.
yeah, right
Yeah.
step forward
Makes
felt
sense.
better because she's moving
Yeah.
into flexion.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so she would say, if I can just stoop over, I feel better. So it's like, let's take a look at everything. She clearly wanted to, like, talk
Okay.
to
So
me and stuff. So
let,
go
let,
ahead.
let me just ask you one question. So
Sure.
just listeners, when I see something like that, since I don't know her prior history, I would think just because I don't know her, is that okay? Is there something on her left side that's not letting her go there? Whether it's foot, hip, neck, anything. So I'm
Mhm.
just gonna interject that. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking right now, but
yeah.
I don't know
So
her. So
when I asked her, I said, "Let's take a look." She
yeah.
just did some. We just looked at. Let's just see where your center of mass is,
Mhm.
and what we can start doing right away to maybe find some ways for her to, like, I just show me, me. It's like I need to see. I need to see you in standing because You need to show me what's happening.
Yeah.
So when she got in front of me and, we're doing this like across on a video, taking pictures and doing things so I can look at stuff. Um, she really was on the right side, quite a bit. And, you know, I just asked her, I said, can you, tell me under your feet where you're standing? Like, are you standing on your heels? Are you standing on the side of one foot? Are your
Mhm.
toes on the ground? Tell me what's happening there.
Mhm.
She said, I'm on the side of my right foot. Um, I feel like I'm on my right foot more than my left foot. And I said, that's interesting because your pain is on the right side. She said, yeah, I know. Because, and I said, has anything ever happened on the left side? Just in the back history. She used to, I don't know, a long time ago, she played volleyball and soccer and, different things. I mean, we're talking like 40, 50 years ago. But just she had some good history of some ankle injuries, mostly on the left.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. That
And
makes sense.
then she had this car accident that was where her neck thing
Yeah.
had all come from,
Yeah.
and was quite sensitized for a number of years. I was able when I was in my practice in PA, I was able to get her out of that, us myself and another practitioner,
Mhm.
and we really, just a lot of work to, get her autoimmunities under control that were feeding into the inflammatory processes in her body.
Yeah.
And again, all of that is, like, much better, but so it kind of, like, concerns me a little bit that this has gone on for 3 months with her because she does all of her autoimmunity work very well. But she's got a lot going on in her family. There's lots of new babies and all joyful things, but it concerns me that this has been going on for so long and nobody has decided to have her see somebody and get some imaging. Um, so it was
That's
just so
hard.
anyway, that's my little soapbox there, but she's standing on the right side. I asked her to just put her hands on the wall and see what happens, and nothing really changed when she put her hands on the wall. I said, "With your hands on the wall, do you feel better or worse?" And she kinda took 2 steps backwards and then kind of put her hands on the wall again where she was kind of stooping forward. She goes,
Mhm.
"Now I feel okay."
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Okay, yep, knew that. That's just
Yeah.
confirming it. I said, "So when you're now that you're feeling okay, can you stand on both legs? Like, I want you to feel your feet the same under both feet." And she really had a lot of trouble shifting her weight to the left.
Yeah. I would imagine.
Yeah, shifting her weight to the left.
Yeah.
And, at this point, she's holding everything so tight on that right side
Yeah.
that, and so when she shifts to the left, what I noticed was her pelvis would move to the left, but her trunk would stay where it was. Thus,
Okay.
increasing side bending on the right side of her lumbar spine.
Yes.
So
Got
if
it.
she's got a, you know,
Thorax,
got something
thoracic.
going on the nerve root there, or stenosis or whatever's happening, that's making it worse to shift onto the left side.
I was going to say pelvis, left pelvic translation, and the thorax is relatively right translated. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, yeah,
So
that's a lot
when
of
she
compression.
goes back,
Yeah.
she's still back in, and if she stays slightly stooped, she's okay.
Yep.
So I just said, what happens if we let's do something that's just a little bit different. I just want to see what's going to happen.
Mhm.
I said, can you just take a half step to the right, keep your hands on the wall, stay where your upper trunk is, and let's just move underneath that. Let's move
Yep.
to the right a little bit. And that really didn't change anything. It was like, oh, it still feels pretty good. Trunk, I'm telling you, is staying right there.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
not, the thorax is not moving, not at all.
No
And
salsa.
I said, come back, can you come back again, back under, and see if you can just stand on both feet again?
Yeah.
Let's play around with this just a little bit. And, she got to where she could, be a little bit more comfortable, but she was also starting to lean forward a little bit more as she was shifting onto the left side. So, without making her feel like everybody had told her something wrong, because she gets very upset if she feels like people didn't tell her something like right on. She's very kind of like, I should know things right away. It's one of
Yes.
those that she has that personality, which is
Yeah.
that's fine. I get it.
Yeah.
So I said, let's just do this. Let's see if we can just bring grab two chairs that are tall enough, and let's put your hands on them and just stand in between the chairs. I'm
Yeah.
thinking maybe if she has something to hold on to on her left side, she might go ahead and do the shift and let her trunk shift over too, rather than just the pelvis shifting.
Yeah.
Like, because on the front, she wasn't able to it was almost like she was clawing into the wall in front of her, like really leaning onto her hands. And I thought maybe
Yeah.
we can get her down some a little bit.
Yeah. Were her
So
hands wider, like wider on the wall, or a normal base?
they were slightly wider.
Okay.
She wasn't able to, I should have said that. She wasn't able to do it narrow. It didn't feel good. She
Okay, that
wasn't
makes
able to go real wide either. So it was just
sense.
kind of like at shoulder level, just slightly wider. But
Got it.
she was really the piece that the wall did for her was she was able to lean forward into her arms, which is why she wasn't moving her trunk.
Yep.
Maybe part of it's a thorax driver, but the other part is that she wasn't moving. She wasn't allowing her trunk to slide over as she slid over onto her left foot because she was leaning onto those arms so hard.
What about AP, Susan? Did she feel like she was more anterior posterior, or did you see anything?
So when she stands straight, sideways, you
Mhm.
can see the kind of almost the shoulders, the trunk, being in front of the pelvis.
Okay.
So,
That
which
makes
is kind of a typical thing. They flex in the lumbar spine and then they
yeah,
extend above because they got to get their head on your eyes on the horizon. So they're not going to walk around with their head down on the ground. They
right.
do that kind of
It
funny
is
thing where it bends
um,
in the lumbar spine, but then it extends up,
yeah.
somewhere else. So she was getting kind of like this mid thoracic extension kind of piece
Okay,
a
got it.
little bit too. And so it kind of made her look like, here's her pelvis. It made her look like she was standing, this way.
Yes, got it. Got it. More
Right.
anterior. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And on the right.
Yeah.
So I had her just stand with the hands on both sides. And I said, I just want you get where you can stand comfortably. At this point, she had never kind of thought about, I never thought about standing in a different way to make myself more comfortable. And it's like,
And
well,
no one ever told her that of all the touch points she had before
right,
seeing you? That's
right.
embarrassing.
It's that, isn't it? So anyway, so I just said, use your hands as you need, but what we're going to do is we're just going to sway side to side.
Mhm.
That's all I want you to do. But I want you to get comfortable first. I don't want you to stand up ramrod straight and have pain in your butt and down the tingling down your leg. I want you to, if you can get as comfortable as possible, get in that position and then let's just start swaying side to side.
Mhm.
And it was better because her arms were down by her side. She could still lean forward a little bit, but I think she was gaining some confidence in like, I can actually stand and not hurt. Then she's like, but I can't stand like this all the time. It's like, we're not going to stand like this all the time. I just want to see if we can get some things moving for you here. so that there are some positions and things you can do to make yourself more comfortable. Because you're going on a trip in May. We have to
Yeah,
figure some things out
yeah,
here.
yeah,
In the meantime, I've got to get you over to somebody who can really work with you,
yeah.
before your trip as well. So anyway, so I got her swaying side to side. I got her actually letting her knees bend.
Mhm.
So then she learned to kind of stand and allow her knees to like not be locked out. So because of the pain, I think she was really locking her knees,
Yeah, yeah,
and just holding everything so stiff.
yeah, very
And,
rigid.
just the constant, like, going back and grabbing her, hip area and stuff.
Mm,
And, anyway, I got her to where she could, I said, just stand here now. And I want you to come up straight, snuggle up to where it bothers you, but don't push into it, you know?
mhm,
And then so she kind of, she did that. And then I said, now at this point, just let your knees bend. Just soften your knees, just like let them bend.
mhm.
I said, does that change anything? Yes, it makes it more comfortable right away.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
so
should.
now you have 2 choices. You can put your hands on something next to you, and you can sway back and forth, and then you can also let your knees slightly bend, and you'll feel more comfortable. So we
Mhm.
practiced that quite a bit. I got her to actually go get her hiking sticks,
Ah, yes.
and I
Mhm.
said, "I want you to go get them and put them in your hands." And I had her actually the hiking sticks, I actually lowered I had her I said, "Lower them about this much, like about an inch, 2 inches."
Yeah,
Rather than keeping them upright,
yeah,
'cause, mostly I like people to be upright, but this person isn't gonna be able to be upright because it makes everything worse.
yeah.
So I wanted her to so I said, "Your elbows at 90 degrees, I want them to be a little bit straighter than 90 degrees." So lower them down just a little bit and
Mhm,
put them in front of you,
mhm,
and she did, and I said, "And use them. Like, it's okay to use them. Let your knees bend softly, do whatever you need to do, but get yourself comfortable." So she played around with that for a little bit. And, we had to take a few breaks and sit down, which was fine. But I eventually got her to where she could work on one legged stance
Oh,
on
fantastic.
both sides,
Wow.
and she could work on walking with the sticks
Mhm.
just by simply helping her get out of the system get out of the loading that right side,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
you
It's a
know? And
dominant
I'm
strategy, and she
I'm
normalized
I'm
it.
bringing this up because our last podcast, that's exactly what we talked
Out of
about,
mass. Yep.
was what's happening when they're loading the side that's already hurt. And finally, I told her, I
Right.
said, she said, "Do you think me standing on this side is aggravating it?" I said, "I'm going to let you tell me that."
Yeah.
I said, "Do you feel better now when you're off of it?" She goes, "I feel better when I'm off of it and I have the sticks." And I said, "Okay, that's good. Our next goal is for you to feel better when you're off of the right leg, or not totally standing on it all the time, right? I don't want you to shift one side to the other
Right.
and be way over here. But, if you can offload that right leg a little bit without using the sticks, that would be helpful too, right?"
Mhm.
She goes, "Yes, how would I work on that?" I was like, "Put your hands on the countertop and play around with it."
Yeah, yeah.
I said, "You know what to do now. Be easy with yourself, soften the knees, move around carefully, sway, shift side to side. Don't be afraid of moving your back. Like, you can let your back bend and you can let it straighten." And the final thing that we did was we got on our hands and knees,
Mhm.
and I said, "How does this feel?" She said, "It actually feels fine," because her hips are bent.
Right.
And I said, "Can you let your back, like, sink down
Like,
like the old horse?"
yeah.
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 Like, and, so she did, and she said, it actually seems okay." She goes, "I can feel a little bit in my glute muscle, but nothing more than what I feel when I sit down."
Ah, okay.
So the idea here was,
Baseline.
"Right, then turn and let me see you from the back end side."
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course she was loaded on the right, and it was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Can we get you on both knees?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you just sway? You don't have to shift or do anything weird. Just can you just sway onto that left hand and left knee a little bit
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
play with that?" So we did. We played with that. We played with going into flexion extension. And I said, "And if you wanna stretch something that might feel good," I said, "just move back into a child's pose."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What were they stretching? Her glutes or her back? I mean, what was she
She
stretching?
said that I asked her, she said that she's doing stretches to her hamstrings. So she's laying on her back, putting a strap underneath her thigh and stretching her foot up to the ceiling. And it's like, okay, that could be a little bit of a neural tension stretch. Do you
Oh,
have symptoms with it?
uh,
Not really. Sometimes my foot goes to sleep.
okay, okay.
I said,
I'm
well, let's don't do anything that makes your foot go to sleep. That's number
exactly.
one.
I mean,
Intentionally. You're going to move enough that your foot's going to go to sleep, but let's don't make that be an exercise.
oh my God.
Right, and it's some adductor stretching and, you know, a lot of flexion-based stretching, which was fine
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you
yeah,
could
yeah,
tolerate it,
yeah.
but, nobody was looking at her to say, "You can't stand, how can we make standing better for you?"
Yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
and yeah,
and
no.
you need to exercise, like, you can sit, you can ride the bike, like,
And the
maybe
bike will
that
help her because
feel
she'll
better.
be and it'll center her because she'll have 4
Yeah,
points of contact, or she'll try or she'll fall off the bike, right? I'm just
right.
gonna interject for 2 seconds before you go continue, is that, I recently had to do a paper for I'm going for my doctorate on a topic of interest, and I did it on center of mass, and I did it on concussion just because that was part of the class I was in. And there's notable research out there, whether it's concussion or whether it's ACL or any injury, if you chronically load one side of your body over the other across all movement patterns, in this woman, standing, stepping forward, tall kneeling, you are
Mhm,
at increased risk of musculoskeletal injury. I'll leave it at
mhm.
that because that is, you're going to have, you will have a risk. And so for anybody who's listening, it's so important to listen to this, really listen to this podcast and do it again and listen to the last one because it's center mass, I believe, is so important. Anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Go ahead.
No,
It's
and
just so
it's the
important,
same thing.
Susan.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing I was talking about, and
Yeah,
I think that the thing that may have got her there was, like, old ankle injuries. The thing
yeah.
that kept her there was the neck problem because of the balance situation,
Ah,
and, the tendency probably was for her to continue to migrate to the right, just it's where she was all the time, and maybe that was a position that made her neck feel better or whatever, or maybe her neck was chronically pulled into a certain posture, and so in order for her to keep her eyes on the horizon, she has to go to the right to do that.
right.
Which is why I was very careful with this, like, let's sway, like, we can't upset the whole apple cart, we've gotta get things going in a direction that makes her feel better. So the whole thing was, can we do some things? My thing was, can she get off of that right side?
Yeah,
For her, it was like, I want you to feel better. I don't want you to do exercises that make your foot, immediately make you go numb or make your pain worse.
yeah.
Don't do that.
No.
Stay under the radar here. And I said, and for goodness sakes, let's get on your bike and ride. Don't do a ton. You haven't done anything in 3 months, but get on there for 5 minutes.
Mhm,
2 minutes if you feel like you need to,
yeah,
take a break, move around, 2 more minutes. Since I worked with her, she has been on the bike and she really likes the bike. She can exercise on the bike without feeling more symptoms. So that
mhm.
makes her really excited because she can get her heart rate up now.
Yes, and that's
And
a
she
good
was like not doing anything. So she's got a little hope for endurance for this trip that's coming up.
yes.
She can walk twice as far with the sticks as without them.
Great.
So, and I said, you just have to kind of work yourself up slowly. Like, don't try to go walk for a mile with the sticks. Just, you know your point. Just stay with that till that feels better and better, and then keep inching it forward.
Mhm,
Like another 100 feet or another 200 feet, not another half a mile.
mhm.
Because it's still quite irritable,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
while
yeah.
she's having this stuff. She's going to see her person in Pennsylvania, and I'm gonna wait till she finishes with that. I've got a name of a PT I'm gonna send to her and, where she lives,
Mhm.
and I've already sent it to her, and I said, "I know it's a stretch for you to get down there, but you gotta get somebody to get their hands on you and keep
Yeah,
this going, for you to do it." My hope is with this other person is they're gonna get her into somebody and get some imaging done because we need to really see what's happening here.
I mean,
Um
her. yeah, her symptoms, she had ridiculous symptoms that came on after. You would have
Yeah.
thought that prompted somebody to say, well, I need to see a picture of your spine at some point because this is actually, we're not centralizing your symptoms.
Yeah.
You know, you know,
Exactly. Yeah, nothing is her symptoms either come or they go. There's no centralization, which leads me to think again about stenosis. And I'm thinking, gosh, if we have, so I questioned her very, very hard. Like, are you having numbness in the saddle area? Like, if you sat on the saddle of your bike, is your whole perineum numb? When you wipe, do you feel it?
yeah,
Has anything changed? Do you, is your, she's got some pelvic health issues, but they've all been, fairly resolved. So she's in tune to it.
yeah,
Has anything changed, in that area in the last 3 months? Because, think of central stenosis, or if it's a central, kind of thing, or is she having, the uh can't think of the name of it now.
battle anesthesia? No.
Well, yeah, but the cauda equina, sorry.
Okay, I know.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But then, but it's not spotty and it's not on the left side. So it's pretty lateral. So it leads me to think that this person's got, some, has lateral stenosis, and
for
that,
sure.
yeah.
I mean,
And for whatever reason, with her age, it might be because she's been chronically loading that side for so long.
yes,
She's
yes.
developed some
Self
extra bone on
changes.
that side, and so there's just less room for the nerve root. And then one day
Yes.
she moved a certain way, and there it
Right.
was. Now, who's to say that that was the cause? We don't know.
But she's
Right.
also picking up grandchildren,
Mhm,
that's depending on how she's holding them, compression and walking
mhm.
around with them, and that's like extra weight on your body, right?
Right.
But from an exercise perspective, just for the people, the listeners, it's really hard, because step forward is and walking is one-legged, let's face it, and to go from like a squat to one-legged standing and like side to side is a big step. And so you have to, put intermediate steps in there. And I think as a profession, sometimes we go um to really hard stuff with patients. And I think I love the idea that we always talk about the wall. I love the wall, a wall and a mirror. That's like the two things and, just going side to side and just changing her brain and getting her brain to normalize it. I actually saw a patient this week and he had a problem with a pull-up, and it wasn't the actual pull-up. It was the eccentric going down. He literally went all the way to the left going down. So I had him put a TheraBand on the floor, and at home I'm having him just do things like put something on the wall to get his sense of center. So I think with patients like that, if they don't have an access to a wall, or if they're doing an exercise, have them put something on the floor or something that they can get their gaze. And you talked about the neck, have their gaze stabilization to see if that can help get them their sense of center. Because ultimately, if whomever she's going to see now is going to do split squats or squats and she's still loading her right side, it's a waste of time.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was looking for somebody that is going to be able to take her in the right direction.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so whether she goes or not, I have no control over that. But
yeah.
the moral to the story here is that if somebody has been suffering for 3 months, and I finally asked her, because I'm direct, and I finally asked her, I said, listen, I said, I realize that you've gotten a little bit better over the last 3 months, but are you significantly better? Have you done anything different? Have they done anything different with you? And this is what happened. She pulled up this brochure, and she said, they told me I needed to do this therapy next.
Oh
And I
God,
said,
what?
what is this therapy next? It's a shortwave therapy
Oh,
machine.
I mean, no, that is so popular now. That's gonna drive me crazy.
And
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
well, so I looked up the website and I said, it's not even FDA cleared for your type of pain or problem. I left it at that.
That is a money draw. Okay,
Yep.
people.
But my point, I said, okay, you've done the same thing over and over again for 3 months. What are your expectations?
Yeah.
My expectations were that it was finally going to get better. And I don't think this person knows that, not the PT even, knows is not as good at this as this practitioner that I've seen in Pennsylvania. I really trust that this guy is going to help me. It's like, that's 99% of the game.
Totally.
That's a sound plan, go.
Yeah.
And we'll figure out the next step after you see that person.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
I was just like, again, here we go. Somebody who's being seen, they're doing the same thing over and over again. They have no intention of referring them. They have no intention of actually moving down the track to make sure that, are we, I'm feeling like red flags are being missed here.
Yes, yes.
Like there could be something, going on here,
I mean, she's in her
right?
60s. I mean,
Going on here.
right.
The only thing that didn't that kept me from sending her straight into a neurologist was because she can sit and she can flex her knee to her chest. But
Hmm.
when you hear about, this kind of back pain, and then you hear about, this really bad, butt pain, for better word for it, the first thing I wanted to know was she able to flex that hip?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
sign of the buttock is like, that's not a,
that's right.
it's not good.
That's right.
So thank goodness that that wasn't there. But
Right.
somebody still needs to, she needs imaging. And I
Yeah.
told her, I said, in spite of what this guy does and where you go, I really think that we need to find you a really good either neuro or ortho person that can do, get some good imaging done.
Just get a baseline, even if it's just to get a picture of it, and I think we did an episode on this a long time ago. For the listeners, if you type low back pain, and I think it would come up. I had a patient similar, she was stretching, and I was like, why are you stretching? The same scenario almost, and
Mhm.
similar age group, maybe she was in her 70s. And I was like, just stop stretching for a bit. And lo and behold, the minute she stopped stretching, she felt a lot better. So that was a long time ago. I remember her now. But the point is that it's just distressing. Because you started off as like how we failed as a profession, and it's not to knock the profession in any way. There's some amazing therapists, but you hear stories like this a lot where the patient doesn't know. Why doesn't the patient know better? I don't know. I mean, a lot of people it depends on who you see. I mean, there are a lot of people who do Dr. Google, and they're going down the rabbit hole. But there are people who take what we say to heart. Like they trust us, and they want to believe what we say. And if over time the person is the ridiculous symptoms would have gotten me. I was like, you have to refer that person back. That's neurological compromise, and that is
Mhm.
no bueno. That is not good.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so, oh yeah, yeah. Well, there you go. That was a good episode. Remember, center of mass and over base of
And then,
support.
yeah, and meet them where they are and help
Yeah,
them find a way to like move in a direction that's going to help them and not hurt them. You can progress things as you move forward. Like I could have progressed her. I could have given her doorknob squats. They weren't relevant. Walking is relevant to her.
right. Yeah,
Standing up straight and kneeling in church is relevant to her. I'm gonna stick with what's like super important in the
yeah, yeah,
beginning.
yeah.
Then we'll build. She can squat down, she can bend, so that's not the problem.
I
It's
mean,
the upright stuff.
yeah, exactly. And also just from the clinical reasoning perspective, why, I mean, I don't know why, but for this patient, but why would someone, I mean, hamstrings can be tight, but is that the only intervention that's going to get this person better?
Right,
Right?
right.
Probably not.
And is it solving the problem? No.
No, it's creating a problem as far as I'm concerned.
That could be, 100%, but it's not solving it.
No.
So solve
Yeah.
the problem. Be curious. Stay curious, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stay super curious. Leave
Yeah.
us some comments. Let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to leave us a review. And if you haven't signed up on our list to get our newsletter and information about our podcast that comes right into your email,
Yeah.
you can sign up at www.toughtotreat.com.
And yeah, go ahead, Susan. Oh, I was
And
just
I
saying,
was going to say,
people know our
and
Gmail,
or
our
email
email.
us.
Right.
Email us at toughtotreatpt@gmail.com.
Exactly.
So we'd love to hear from you. And always, if anybody wants to come on and bring a case,
Yeah.
we're ready. Get in
Yep.
touch with us, email us, and let us know what you got, and we'll set a date.
Yep. Would love to have you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.